Hi guys, my name is Dara, and in this video I'm going to tell you how I finance my PhD program at Indiana University Bloomington. If you are new here, this channel is about graduate students in the US, and here we share valuable tips how to get admitted to a graduate school and how to succeed. I'm going to tell you about my assistantship, what it covers and what it does not cover, what expenses to expect in graduate school, and finally I will give you a few valuable tips how to save while being a student. So let's start. I'm currently a graduate assistant in a research center, and a few words about what assistantship is. Assistantship is a part-time job at a university when students work whether as a research assistant or a teaching assistant. It depends on students' qualification and interest. Typically, graduate students work about 20 hours per week, and in my case I also work 20 hours per week, 12 months per year. In return for my work, my assistantship covers 95% of my tuition. I also receive health insurance and receive a monthly stipend that covers basically all my living expenses. And you might be curious how high the monthly stipend is, and it depends on many factors. It depends in which institution you are, in which department you work. Also, it depends a lot on the region. So, for example, in some expensive states like California or New York, the monthly stipend is of course much higher versus stipend that is paid in the Midwest. And since I'm in the Midwest, my stipend is $18,000 per year. So basically, assistantship covers the major expenses that the graduate students might have at school. So now when we know what assistantship covers, now let's talk what it does not cover. And first of all, in my case, I still have to pay my 5% of my tuition. The percentage of tuition that you have to pay depends on your residency. As an international student, I have to pay 5%, but domestic students might, for example, pay more, and it also depends if you are in-state or out-of-state student. The second biggest area of expenses are student fees. Student fees are different from tuition, and they are charged for campus services. For example, for campus shuttle, health fees that, for example, allows you to have free sessions at the counseling center, recreational fees, technology fee that give you access to use a library and computer labs, and as being an international student, I also pay international student fees that is charged also every semester. So student fees are mandatory regardless whether you use campus services or not. You still have to pay them, and in my case it's usually every semester I pay around $1,700-1,800 only of student fees. Another thing that worth to mention about is that you having an assistantship is considered to be as an income, and you have to pay taxes out of your paycheck. So in my case, as I'm an international student, I usually pay 50% out of my monthly stipend for taxes. In addition to the student fees and part of the tuitions that you might have to pay, you also need to think about such expenses as renting a room or an apartment, paying utilities, buying books, if you are planning to have a car. So keep in mind that you also need to think about gas and car maintenance, which is pretty expensive in the United States. And now let's talk how you can save some money in graduate school. So first of all, borrow books from the library. So US institutions have very good library resources, and you can borrow almost any book. If the library in your institution doesn't have the particular book that you are interested in, they can always request this book from another libraries. from another institution, and this is really great. If you cannot borrow the book from the library, so then consider to buy a used book, for example from eBay or from the Amazon. Tip number 2, benefit from Amazon student trial. If you register with your university email, Amazon will allow you to have 6 months Prime trial for students, which is really a great option. Okay, tip number 3, consider to rent an apartment that might be close to campus or that has shuttles that runs to campus. If you use shuttle every day to go to your assistantship or to classes, it can really save you lots of money for gas and car maintenance. And my final tip, be aware of cost registration policies at your school. Sometimes institutions charge late registration fees if you, for example, register the weekend before the classes start. Sometimes fees are charged for dropping out the courses and to enroll in the new courses when the course has already started. In addition to that, you also need to be aware what is the deadline for paying your student fees. Some fees might be applied if, for example, you are supposed to pay within 1 month that the semester started, but if you pay like a little bit longer, some interest fees might be also applied. And these are 4 tips that I wanted to share with you. So to sum it up, you have to be really strategic in terms of your financial expenses when you are in graduate school. So whenever you are considering getting assistantship, you need to keep in mind what your assistantship covers and what it doesn't cover. Usually assistantship covers your tuition fees, health insurance, and monthly stipend, and it typically does not cover student fees. And you also should think that tax will be deducted out of your monthly stipend, and you might still have to pay some part of your tuition fees. It's very recommended to carefully read your assistantship contract. And as for tips for graduate school, you can always save some money on borrowing the books from the library or buying used books. You can benefit from Amazon trial at least for 6 months. And finally, be aware of all institutional policies in order not to pay extra fees. If this video was useful for you, please thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in our next videos. Bye bye.